This might be my favorite episode of.
I would have gotten prettier if I knew it was going to be a hit. Hey, Rach, you stoned?
I sure am not. I'm not.
Taking a break, huh?
Taking a break off the ganja, the grass. I tell you, we have a lot. It's my story today, and we have a lot of patrons sign-ups. Thank you.
Mood.
Oh my God, thank
you, Mood.
But I was like, why is that? And then I was like, is it because I accidentally got stoned before the last bonus?
I'm sure it is.
Just tell me the truth.
Which really should be. I appreciate your suggestions and would love to do a tier in Patreon where you just get stoned and talk about whatever. I would love that.
That would be fun. It could not be a case.
No.
You would learn nothing.
It'd be like a shoot in the shit.
Too giggly. Oh, shooting the shit, easy. Or I could tell you about an episode of Vanderpump Rules. And it would be,
we could talk Bravo all day.
Oh, it would be hilarious. So, coming soon. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Y'all, I didn't mean to. Delayed effects, man. But if you want to feel the same thing, you go to mood.com and use code the worst. Is all I'm saying.
Anyway. It'd be called Vanderpump.
Go on.
I was trying to think of a play on the word rules to make it a high, like a rolls, if we were rolling, but we won't be rolling. That's crazy.
No.
Anyway.
Okay, today's a doozy.
Vanderpump Bowls.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Atta girl. Any other puns you want to throw out?
No, but
No. That was pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Today, I don't know what I'm calling it, so I'm just going to start talking. We'll figure it out. A lot of players in it, so I don't know what to say. So
watch what happens. Ha.
Nailed it.
Okay, I really am done now.
Okay, focus. Oh, and this is my favorite disclaimer. I'll tell you this right now. Stick with it until the end. You'll think I'm wrapping up with the trial, but there's a little more after that. Okay. Sources: the AJC, that's Atlanta Journal-Constitution, duh. A book by Philip Ginsberg, which I'll say the name at the end. Court documents and crime library. Robbi Hannon was born in 1945 in Buffalo, New York, but her family moved to Tyler, Texas when she was a baby. So that's where she grew up. She had an identical twin sister named Teri. Hey.
That's crazy.
What?
My last episode was on Teri Caffey, who lived pretty much right outside Tyler.
Oh, yeah. Crazy. So she had an identical twin named Teri. So Robbi is Robbi with an I. You get it. There were references to a bad childhood, but we don't know a lot of details. All we know is that she was estranged from pretty much everyone except her twin, except for Teri. They talked all the time, but they really didn't seem to talk to other people in their family.
Okay.
By 1975, Robbi was living in Texas with her husband, Joseph Hannon, and their two kids. Joseph's mom had terminal cancer, so she lived with them and they took care of her, which was hard, but Joseph was a successful attorney, so he had the means to get her like good care.
Yeah.
So all in all, they were really happy. Things were good. Oh, and this is a gut punch until one horrible, tragic day.
Okay.
I can't imagine this. Robbi, Joseph, and the kids were driving somewhere, I think, running errands. I don't know what they were doing.
Oh, no.
And a speeding drunk driver ran into them. And the accident killed everyone except for Robbi.
Are you serious? She lost her husband and kids?
Both kids and husband.
Oh.
Awful. This sent her into a spiral of guilt and depression. She had repeated nervous breakdowns, usually triggered when she had to drive somewhere.
So there was a drunk driving accident in the middle of the day?
It could have been like afternoon. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, one source said running errands, and I was like, at night? And then I was like, no, it could happen in the morning.
Yeah,
Who
no,
knows?
absolutely.
Who the hell knows?
The other driver die?
I think so.
Yeah.
There wasn't, I don't know. So she was having, nervous breakdowns, again, triggered by if she had to drive somewhere. She even attempted suicide multiple times.
Oh.
So imagine this grief, and her mother-in-law was still living with them, battling cancer.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So poor grandmom too to those kids
Yeah.
and her son she lost. But Robbi felt obligated to keep taking care of her. So now she's the
Yeah.
sole caretaker. I mean, obviously.
Mm.
After her mother-in-law lost her battle in 1979, 35-year-old Robbi was in desperate need for a fresh start.
35.
35 years old.
No.
In 1980, she moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and left everything behind. She just needed a completely new start. Finding a job was tough because she hadn't worked in years. Before
Yeah.
she met Joseph, she had some experience as a secretary, but he was a successful attorney, so she never worked. And when she was in Fort Lauderdale, she couldn't find secretary work, so she took a job bartending, and that's where she met John Homan.
Okay.
John was a 33-year-old owner of a boat building company and was recently divorced. He was described as shy and awkward, but they hit it off and started dating. It got serious pretty fast, and eventually they moved in together. He grew up in Fort Lauderdale, but at this time, again, it's 1980, the city was growing fast and it didn't feel like home anymore. He was like, I don't even recognize this place. He was over it. So he sold his company and he and Robbi moved to Marlow, New Hampshire.
Oh.
John's brother lived there, so he had ties there, and they just wanted like a small town, peaceful country life in New England. And
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a lot of small towns now on my bucket list. This is one of them. This just looks so
Oh,
cute.
really? Yeah.
Yeah. It's not far from the border of Vermont, and like
Mm-hmm.
they
Those
at
are
one
pretty
point
states.
just
there.
pretty states. There at one point someone goes to Battleboro, I think, Vermont. So I just, this is why it takes me so long. I Google that. And I'm like, holy shit, this isn't a real place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back
yeah.
on the list. It's so good. Or on the list. It's so good. In New Hampshire, Robbi found a job as a secretary and John started working as a machinist at a factory. I can't remember which one. In May 1981, they got married. And soon after, Robbie's health started deteriorating. She had a rare blood disease. She was born with it. A rare blood disease. And up until this point, it was pretty under control, but there was no cure. So she tried all these different treatments. They didn't work. She knew it would likely cut her life short, and she was open with John about that.
Yeah.
The loss of her this is sad. The loss of her entire family made this realization easier, though. She said she told him she was not afraid to die.
Oh, okay. How old were her kids?
I don't know.
Okay.
Young.
All right.
Young.
Oh, God.
Her condition caused the occasional migraine, sometimes memory loss, but starting in 1982, it really started getting worse. Once she was at work and she was fumbling around her desk looking for something, and her coworker was like, "What are you looking for?" And Robbi said, "My lunch. I want to eat." And the coworker was like, "What? We just went out to lunch together."
Oh.
Robbi had no recollection of it. She confided in the same coworker that she recently couldn't remember leaving work one day. So she told her that if she ever starts acting weird, just call John and have him come get her.
Yeah.
She was also in a lot of pain and really nauseous. She and John were back and forth to a doctor in Hanover, but there was really nothing they could do. They would give her medicine to like ease the symptoms. But finally, though, she got in with a specialist in Houston, which is perfect because they have a great medical center there. And her twin, Teri, the twin, is still in Texas.
Oh.
So she could like go be taken care of.
Yeah. I was going to say that for the mother-in-law, being like, well, if you have cancer, I think Houston's a great spot to be. Or, Texas in general, but Houston's right there.
Yeah. Well, the MD Anderson Center's there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where Tommy went,
Yeah.
Okay. That's our uncle. So in September 1982, she went to Texas to start treatment, which was going to be about 2 months. She had to quit her job, so they decided it was best for John to stay back in New Hampshire and continue working while Teri took care of Robbi in Texas. So she wouldn't be alone.
Yeah.
Robbi was over the medical treatments, though. She actually, I think she said, "This is going to be my last effort. If this doesn't work," like she was in and out. She was going to Massachusetts. I mean,
and
to
how old is
Massachusetts
she
a lot.
at this point?
37. Ugh, our age.
That's so young to be over it and be like, "This is going to be my last effort." I'm like,
I know.
Oh, okay.
I can't. Yeah, so it's sad. But she said, if this doesn't work, I'm going to ride it out, unfortunately.
And her twin's like, "The fuck you are."
I know. Yeah, right.
I need ya.
Even sadder, though, she didn't have to ride it out very long.
Oh, no.
By November, it was clear the treatment wasn't working and her health declined drastically.
Oh.
On November 10th, 1982, John was at work when he got the call he had been dreading.
Oh my God.
He picked up the phone and it was Teri. She said, "It's over. Robbi lost her battle." John was devastated. After only 3 years together, he was now a widower.
Oh God. But she's with her
I know.
kids and her, oh God,
She said she was
tragic.
not scared of it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And she's out of pain. If it's like,
I know. See, it sucked.
yeah.
Before her death, Robbi had written a long letter for Teri to give to John. So Teri flew up to New Hampshire to deliver the letter and so she could like help him through this. They were kind of, Robbi was the only thing either of them had. Like they didn't really talk to family. John did to his brother a little bit, but they just, it was just sad. So she also helped him with the obituary, informed Robbie's job, all the bullshit no one wants to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know how she mustered the strength because I would be like, I'm pulling rank over the grieving husband as the twin. Sorry.
Are they identical?
Yes.
Oh.
I get rank. I don't want to do the bullshit.
Yeah. A part of you is deceased. I physically wouldn't be able to. I'd be like, no. Oh God. That's tragic.
I know. Or with this, it sounds like you'd be the opposite, like badass. Like remember when mom died, I was like, fear of speaking. No, I'll do the eulogy. No problem. It was like, I don't know what happened. I was like, nothing just seems that
important,
big of a deal.
Yeah.
You know? So
I shouldn't say important, but you know,
that big of a deal.
And Teri's not married?
No, she's divorced.
Oh, if y'all
and no kids.
If you tell me they start an affair, I just don't know.
The trip was also an opportunity for Teri to heal and get some closure. Even though Robbi and Teri talked on the phone all the time, they didn't get to see each other that much. So Teri wanted to see like where her sister spent her last couple of years of life.
Oh my God. And she looks exactly like your now deceased wife. Oh gosh. I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, they look like, but there are differences. Like Teri had brown hair. No. Robbi had brown hair. Teri had blonde. Teri was like smaller. They're both short, but she was skinnier. I don't know. But yes, they look exactly like.
Yeah.
After a week or so of grieving together, sharing stories and fond memories of Robbi, Teri and John started getting really close.
No.
One day they went to Friendly's Diner, which is apparently a chain. We don't have those down here.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
But John and Robbi had been regulars at this Friendly's. So he took Teri there and they sat in their favorite booth, him and Robbie's favorite booth, just as they used to. And he said suddenly something came over him and he couldn't look Teri in the eye. He was very drawn to her. And soon, as you already guessed it, this would be the beginning of Teri and John's relationship.
No.
A lot of friends and people around this small town were repulsed by this. They felt it was very inappropriate, but Teri and John didn't care.
Y'all gotta move. I don't know.
move out of town. Get out of here.
Away.
Get out of here. It is worth noting a little background about John. He was very numb about death. Here's why.
Oh.
He grew up the oldest of 6 kids, and it wasn't a great childhood. His mom suffered from depression and coped with alcohol. She would leave for days at a time going on benders, and when she got home, it was not to be discussed.
Oh.
His dad was gone a lot for work, and when he was home, he tried to keep the house in control by pouring out all the liquor, which led to huge fights. Just a dark, dark home life.
Yeah.
His mom spiraled fast, and as the oldest, John took a lot of the responsibility of taking care of the younger siblings. When he was 16 years old, he was trying to get the younger kids ready for bed, and they weren't listening to him. And he screamed, "Get up, goddammit, your mother's dead." That's how it was relayed to him from his dad.
Ooh.
So that's how he relayed it to his younger siblings.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Dead.
She was dead.
Oh.
His dad.
That's too much pressure to put on a
16.
16?
Oof, boy. His dad, I guess, relayed it to him the same way. And he was also very matter of fact about her death. No funeral, no grieving. What's done is done. Move on.
It sounds like dad had something to do with that.
No, it was, I think, probably cirrhosis based on the story.
Yeah.
The dad actually told the kids, quote, "There's no sense in going on about it. You can't change anything." And then he remarried very quickly after.
Ooh.
Which does look sketchy. As I'm saying it out loud, it is sketchy.
It is sketchy, but it's also the 50s for you. What was that? Probably, 1950s. So
yeah.
like,
Well, yeah.
we're not going to cry about it type behavior. And you're like, well, that's okay too.
Yeah. No crying.
It's okay.
Move on. And I'm going to find a new wife because I have no idea how to do shit for
Yes. Yeah.
So That's what he did. And I think the stepmom was not great. So just a bad childhood. And this conditioned John to take the same attitude of like, people die, it sucks, you got to move on.
Yeah.
So those that knew this about him weren't surprised that he could move on so quickly. But with her sister, and like his relationship with Robbi, it got serious pretty quickly. Before long, Teri moved up to New Hampshire and moved in with John, and she pretty much replaced Robbi. They spent Christmas and New Year's together with their friends, and the friends were mixed. Some were repulsed by the whole thing. Some of the women refused to go to gatherings if she was going to be there, but then some warmed up to her. Like some really liked her.
Yeah.
So they just didn't really care.
All right.
Teri got a job at a small publishing company, and John advanced in his job. I think he was head machinist now. And after work, they would frequently meet at Friendly's, the diner, for dinner. January 12th, 1983 was one of those days. Teri didn't have a car, so her friend Sally picked her up at work to give her a ride to Friendly's where John was waiting. Sally parked in the parking lot of the publishing company where Teri worked when Teri walked out of the building and walked right past Sally's car. Sally turned around and saw that she was talking to a man who was parked behind her, and Sally was like, who the hell's that?
Yeah.
She rolled down her window, and Teri leaned down and said, I have a ride, thanks, and got into the man's car. Meanwhile, John was at Friendly's waiting, and when Teri was late, he started getting worried. The diner phone rang, and the waitress handed it to John. It was Teri, and John was like, where are you? And she said, I'm at the police station, and I need a ride home. John was like, oh, shit. It was snowing, so he was thinking, like, maybe they got in an accident. He asked if she was okay, and she said, yeah, I'm fine. I just need a ride home. So he hauls ass to the police station. When he gets there, he's met by Detective Barry Hunter, who told John that he'll see Teri in a second, but first he wanted to have a little chat.
Oh, fuck yeah.
They go into a private room, and Detective Hunter is asking John about his relationship with Teri. John explains that after Robbi died, Teri went up to New Hampshire to help him, and one thing led to another. Things got romantic, and she ended up moving in with them a few months prior. Detective Hunter is listening, just taking it in, and finally looked at John and said, John, Robbi doesn't have a twin.
What? Wait, where did you find this? No.
I'm telling you, I already said this. I'm not even done. This, I think, might be my favorite episode.
Holy shit. Wait, her family's dead. Okay. No, they're not. Okay.
Now, hold
All
on.
right, let's go.
Let's go. John is stunned. He actually doesn't believe him at first. He thinks they're making
this was going to be a sting opera. Like I was like, oh, this has all been a ruse. Teri is not really his girlfriend. She's a part of the sting and is going to catch him for murdering her twin sister. That's what I thought.
Nope.
Okay.
Not even close. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. Not even close.
Something wasn't adding up. I was like, no identical twin is going to date their. Ugh. Okay.
I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but no, not in this case.
Okay.
Because there is no identical twin.
Stop.
So John thinks they're making a mistake. He tells him, he's like, no, Robbi's dead. It's her. She has a twin. And they're like, no. This entire death was a hoax. And by now, 2 FBI agents have come into the room and they ask him, do you know Audrey Marie Hilley? And John's confused and is like, no, I've never heard that name. And they drop another bomb. Your wife is Audrey Marie Hilley. There's no Robbi. There's no Teri. There's Marie Hilley, a fugitive from Alabama.
Stop.
Now, screeching car tires. We're going to go back and I'll tell you about this bitch.
Yeah.
Got it?
Please.
Audrey Marie Fraser was born on June 4th, 1933. Remember when I said Robbi was born in 1945? That was a lie. She shaved off 12 years when she met John.
For her. Does she have the looks to pull that off?
Yes.
Good for her.
Well, I'll tell you about her looks in a second. But just so you know, pretty much everything I told you about her is a lie. Her family didn't die in a car wreck. She does have kids.
Thank God.
She does have kids. We'll get to it.
Shut up.
We'll get to it. She was born in Blue Mountain, Alabama, which is right outside Anniston. Back then, I think it was actually its own town, but now it's considered a suburb of Anniston. Just FYI. Marie came from humble beginnings. Both her parents worked very long hours at a local textile mill, but they did their best to provide a good life for her. When she was 12, they moved into Anniston, which is like 2 miles down the road. But still, it's the city.
The big city.
The big city. And for the first time ever, she was surrounded by kids of privilege. Kids in Blue Mountain, their parents all worked labor jobs at the mill, but these kids' parents owned the mills, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So she worked hard to keep up. She was really pretty, as a sort of mentioned before. She even won prettiest girl in 7th grade, which was not a thing when, I mean, I understand this is a different time, but that seems like a really big source of unnecessary drama and insecurity. But sure.
What a knock to your self-esteem if you don't win prettiest girl.
And if I understand it correctly, it was chosen by the high school students.
Oh, God.
Which I'm like, ew, okay.
In 7th grade? That is like prime insecure time.
Oh my God.
I definitely wasn't getting prettiest girl in 7th grade. That's
oh my
for
God.
sure.
No.
Fattest girl.
Well, I mean, don't say that. I'd say, yeah, like baby fat, awkward stage.
Most awkward girl.
Yes.
Landslide.
Acne, braces. That's 7th grade. I don't know what it takes. Expander.
Oh, I would for sure win the most awkward girl.
Oh my God.
And I'd take that shit home, bitches.
That's right. Just wait. I just got prescribed Accutane. Eat shit.
And Adderall. Fuck off. I got Accutane and Adderall. I'm on my way up to prettiest.
Look out, Marie, prettiest in 7th grade. Coming for you. While attending Anniston High School, she started dating Frank Hilley. He was 4 years older than her, so I guess she was a freshman and he was a senior. They continued their relationship after he graduated high school and joined the Navy. He was assigned to Guam, and they said the distance was unbearable.
Yeah.
So when he got back, they immediately got married. She was only 18 and finishing senior year of high school. But I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's back then. That's what you,
whatever. They had their first child, Michael, the following year, which was like 1953. And by then, Frank had left the Navy and they moved back to Anniston. They were like in California for a second, Massachusetts. Yeah. So now they're back in Anniston. And about 7 years later, in 1960, they had their daughter, Carol.
Okay.
Frank and Marie did pretty well. Marie was a secretary and Frank was a foreman at a manufacturing company, and that paid really well. But Marie was constantly trying to keep up with the high society of Anniston. You know.
Yep.
So her spending habits were a source of tension between them. They had virtually no savings. I mean, she was just spending all the time. People said that Marie's behavior was notably strange, but got way weirder when she was pregnant with Carol and afterwards, right after. When she was pregnant, she'd routinely go for late night walks in her nightgown, like at 2 a.m. Can you imagine looking out the window and seeing an uber pregnant woman in a nightgown walking down the street?
People still tell that ghost story, I'm sure.
Oh my God.
Having no idea it was an actual woman.
She also wrote letters to herself from made up lovers and left them around the house for Frank to find. Why? What are you doing?
That is insecurity at its finest.
She was always hiding her frivolous spending from Frank, but somehow managed to pay off her debts, but nobody knew where she was getting the money. Sometimes she'd work really late at night and said she was working overtime typing and would come home with like $1,200 cash in the early 70s, which is like $8,000 today.
Oh God.
So people were like, typing? No.
Sex worker?
I can't remember if I mentioned this later. It was somewhat known that she had, because she was always the executive assistant. So she was like the secretary for the president of the company, the owner of the mill, whatever. And it was said that she often had affairs with, actually, her daughter said this. So I'm going to take it as fact.
Yeah.
She did have affairs, was known to have affairs with them. And I think would just kind of like, man, I could really use a little extra cash, you know, so it wasn't
hush money.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was like direct transaction, like I'll have sex with you if you pay me $1,200, but it was like, man, this credit card bill is a lot higher than I thought it was. And they'd be like, say no more.
Right.
Literally say no more. If you tell my fucking wife.
Yeah, I was about to say. And boy, what's your wife's number again?
Yeah. So there's like some sketchiness, but she figured out how to pay that debt down. But I mean, again, he knew she was spending outrageously, whatever. By 1975, their son Mike had graduated college and was living in Georgia, and their daughter Carol was 15 years old when Frank was diagnosed with hepatitis. He was visiting Mike in Georgia and just felt like shit. He was vomiting, even hallucinating. So he went back to Anniston, and the doctors found that he had acute liver malfunction. So they put him in the hospital, and that's when he was diagnosed with infectious hepatitis.
Ew.
His health declined very fast, and on May 25th, 1975, he died.
Oh, wow.
He was only 46 years old, and doctors requested an autopsy just to be 100% sure, and it confirmed that it was in fact hepatitis, as well as pneumonia and swollen kidneys and lungs.
Jeez.
Ugh. Carol's behavior got weirder after this.
Yeah.
After he died, they moved a lot. They had 6 addresses in 4 years.
Oh, jeez.
Always within Anniston, and always getting closer and closer to East Anniston, which was apparently the nice part. That's where all the rich people lived.
Okay.
They also, for a second, they moved in with Frank's mom just for a little bit. I guess they couldn't afford, it was immediately when he died, they couldn't afford the house anymore. But eventually his mom died of cancer in 1979. So they moved into their own house, and that's when the series of moves started.
Okay.
She also started calling police a lot, like reporting peeping Toms, obscene phone calls. Between 1977 and 1979, she made 60 police reports.
Jeez.
But they were never allowed, they were never able to catch anyone.
Yeah.
They tapped her phones and no calls would come in, which that part kind of made me sad, 'cause I'm like, she's just lonely.
Yeah.
Now her daughter, Carol, lives with her, but she's a teenager. I mean, she's out
Yeah.
with friends. She doesn't hang out with her.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of Carol, by this point, she is in high school. She's about to graduate. And Marie is very worried about her. Why? Oh, because she thought Carol was showing a sexual preference towards women.
Oh my God.
And she was not cool with that.
The least of your concerns.
I know. And I don't know I don't know why she thought that, but she did.
Okay.
So that's why she's worried about Carol.
Concern in the 80s. It's 80s now? Yeah.
It's very late 70s.
Okay.
79, yeah. Marie's spending and constant need to keep up with the Joneses continued. Eventually, to keep up with the lifestyle she couldn't afford, she started writing bad checks. So this is where her legal trouble starts. And soon, medical bills would be piling up. The daughter, Carol, graduated from high school in 1978 and started college at a local community college, so she stayed at home. She still lived at home. In April 1979, Carol, who was 19 at this point, went to a party with her friends. They were drinking, smoking weed, and the next morning, she and Marie went to church, where a very hungover Carol started throwing up. She threw up all day, but after a few days,
because she was a lesbian.
She was like, "I told you shouldn't be a lesbian. This is what," and you were at church. This is what
Satan is inside of you.
This is your punishment. She threw up all day, but after a few days, the hangover wouldn't go away. She was incredibly nauseous, so Marie took her to the emergency room. They gave her medicine, which helped. They ran tests. She was fine, so they released her, but this kept happening for months. Between April and August 1979, she was in and out of the hospital. She couldn't keep food down. Marie even tried to give her baby food, and she couldn't keep that down.
Marie, a lot of people are getting sick in your life. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Doctors did every test under the sun, and they couldn't find a thing, so they transferred her to Caraway Methodist Hospital in Birmingham to the psychiatric ward.
Oh.
They said that this had to be mental because she was not testing positive for anything. She was there for 3 weeks, and the psychiatrist couldn't find anything wrong with her mentally, so they transferred her to UAB, the University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Hey.
If you're new here, we're from Birmingham.
And thanks for listening.
And thank you so much for being here. In September 1979, while at UAB, a doctor named Brian Marshall Thompson walked into Carol's hospital room and said, "Let me see your fingernails."
Oh my God.
Her fingernails confirmed what he suspected, so he treated her and released her.
Lead poisoning or mercury poisoning?
Close. When Carol got back to Anniston, Marie asked if the UAB doctors were able to find anything the other doctors couldn't. Sorry. What?
It's just interesting that she didn't go with her to Birmingham, which is only an hour away from Anniston.
Oh, okay. Well, you can keep this so I can clarify. She was in jail for check fraud.
That's why.
She was spending the weekend in jail.
Bummer.
I know. So when she got back, Marie asked if, the doctors found anything. And Carol said, "Actually, yes, they did. I have arsenic poisoning."
Holy shit. So is this like a Munchausen's by proxy sitch where she just makes her kids sick, so she gets all the sympathy and all that. Does she want that, or like what's
But
going on?
Munchausen's is mental. Like she's physically making her sick.
It can be so bad that you physically make your kid sick or whoever.
No, but she's like actually poisoning people.
I
So
know.
like, yeah, you can drill it into your kid's head over and over that they are sick and that they can actually start feeling it. I'm sure. I think that's more Munchausen. She is actually sick. This isn't her
Right,
making
but
it believe it. She's making her sick.
No, I know that, but I do think that severe cases can, yeah,
Maybe.
I don't know.
I'm not claiming to be an expert. Who knows?
Does she have another motive other than sympathy?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then no. The answer would be no.
Oh my God. Actually,
no Munchausen's probably.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
All right.
We'll dig into that at the end. But no, she doesn't want sympathy. Fuck no, it's definitely not that.
Oh, okay.
But we'll talk about why at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But no, she's physically making them sick, and yeah, the motive is not. I want the rich people in East Anniston to rally around me.
Yeah. Okay.
The doctor at UAB had noticed little white lines on her fingernails, which is a sign of arsenic poisoning.
Wow.
And you looked at your nails.
Uh-huh.
Do I need to have a sit down with Barrett?
No.
What are you worried
making
about?
sure.
Just making sure.
I'm always tired, man.
Listen, what's that about?
What's that about?
Marie was already being investigated for writing bad checks, but now police are investigating how the hell Carol would have gotten arsenic poisoning.
Right.
A search of her home found arsenic in liquid form, as well as rat poison with a big label saying contains arsenic.
Oh my God. Okay. The big jar with XXX on it.
Exactly. Given the similarities of Carol's symptoms and Frank's symptoms before he died, they exhumed Frank's body and found that he had more than 100 times the normal amount of arsenic that would be in a body. 100 times.
How is that not found?
They didn't test him. They didn't test him for poison.
But he actually also had the swollen kidneys and lung and whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But yes.
Probably due to the arsenic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it was similar enough to hepatitis.
Yeah.
That they just, I don't know. So then they were like, okay, just in case, let's exhume the bodies of her mom, who died of cancer in 1977, and her mother-in-law, who also died of cancer in 1979.
Uh-huh.
Both of them also had above average amounts of arsenic in their system, but the pathologist couldn't determine conclusively that they died of arsenic. With Frank's levels, he was conclusive. He said he absolutely died of arsenic poisoning. And looking back at his illness, this makes so much sense.
The fuck's her problem?
I know. First of all, hepatitis is a very slow death. You don't get diagnosed and die a week later. That's not how it works. That's why they did the autopsy, actually, because they were like, he shouldn't have died in 6 days. Or I think it was 6 days. And then remember when I said that he was hallucinating?
Yeah.
He was gone mentally. In those few days between when he felt nauseous visiting his son and when he died, he would like pick up the bed sheets and read them as newspapers. He was having conversations with people who weren't there. He even handed out pink slips to employees who didn't exist. Like in the hospital, he was like, I don't know if he was handing just a piece of paper to the nurse, being like, you're fired. Get out of here.
She runs screaming, crying from the hospital.
Yeah. So they were like, what is happening with this guy? But they chalked it up to hepatitis. They also found that she had taken a life insurance policy out on Carol just before she started feeling sick. That fateful day at church.
Her own daughter.
Yep. So after only a 6-day investigation, Marie is arrested and charged with Frank's murder and Carol's attempted murder. She was held with a $10,000 bond and called everyone she knew to beg them to come pay it, all of whom said, nah.
No thanks.
We're good.
Tried to kill your own kid, so
we're good.
We're square.
But her former boss stepped up, said, I'll pay it. This guy was one of the richest in Anniston. I don't know.
Okay.
He claimed, everyone in town was like, why in the hell is he bailing her out?
Because she's blowing him.
Right. That's assumed to be the real reason. He said, like, I knew her parents her parents. They worked for me at one point and they were just so loyal. I feel the need to be whatever.
Okay.
So he bailed her out. So after about a month and a half in jail, she was released after he stepped up and paid the 10 grand and was put in a hotel in Birmingham by her lawyer.
Which one?
I guess she had nowhere to go. Okay, I got it. The Roadway Inn in Homewood doesn't exist anymore, but that's where it was. I guess she had nowhere else to go. So he was in Birmingham. So he was like, you're just going to stay put.
Yeah.
She had been there for about a week when her attorney went to meet with her. And when he walked in, the room was empty, except for a note that said, Lane, that's the attorney's name. Lane, you led her straight to me. You will hear from me.
What?
He immediately called the police and reported that Marie had been kidnapped.
Oh, shit.
2 days later, Marie's aunt came home to a ransacked house. Someone had broken in, stolen clothes, luggage, her car, a bunch of shit. On the table was a note that matched the handwriting from the hotel, and it said, do not call the police. We will burn you out if you do. We found what we want. Your car is in Gadsden.
Oh, my God.
I needn't tell you that Marie was not kidnapped.
No, I knew
right?
that. Yeah.
Okay, right. This is all her handwriting. Get the hell out of here.
Why'd she ditch the car? Okay. A lot of whys.
Well, I know. I don't know. I think it also assured the aunt that, like, we will not bother you again. And so I think she didn't really hate her aunt. She just really wanted to take her car.
Clothes
so, like, clothes, luggage, steal that. She knew she needed her car. So I guess I don't know. Out of the goodness of her heart, obviously. Who knows? But then later, like, they found Marie's car, and I don't know if it was actually the aunt's car, in Marietta, Georgia. So I was like, were you fucking with your aunt? She went to Gadsden, couldn't find it, and it was actually in Georgia? You're a bitch.
You're a bitch.
So her handwriting, get out of here. And she did. That would be the last anyone heard from Marie for 3 years. She fled Alabama in early 1980, went to Florida, met John, introduced herself as Robbi, and that's where this batshit story started.
Oh my God. Hold on. I am just like, why did she play Robbi and then pretend to be her twin? That's what I was trying to think of, the lie of, like, oh, wait. So she was using a fake name because she's a fugitive, obviously. But then when I guess she really started falling in love with him, was like, shit, I want to marry him as me. And was like, oh, my twin's dead. It's really me.
No, it is.
Wait, because she used a fake name the whole time.
No, both twins are fake. So
yeah.
That is one of the first questions the FBI agents, after they arrest her from walking to her friend's car, they take her, she gets in their car.
I'm like, why'd you make this so complicated?
Why did you layer it like this? They even, and I talk about this later, but I'll just talk about it now, whatever. They say to her, like, we probably would not have found you if you stayed Robbi.
Yeah.
No, why would you leave John and come back as someone else, a twin, just to be scrutinized for it, drawing attention to yourself? You added a whole layer of complication, and we would not have found you. No one was suspicious. Everything you said checked out as Robbi. No one was looking into you. Everyone was looking into Teri, and I'll tell you how she got caught later. But they're like, why did you do that? You know what she said?
What?
I don't know. I'm not saying I don't know. She said, I don't know. Now, I'm like, maybe she was getting bored as Robbi. She was like, I do want to spice things up.
Very clearly likes to mix it up.
Yeah, I'm too far under the radar right now. I want to be a little bit closer to it. It's fun.
Wow.
I don't know. Mystery. Anyway, so
that's a choice that I wouldn't have made.
No. She makes a bunch of choices that I would not make. Okay. You know? Mm-hmm. And I still have 9 pages.
No, you do not. Do you really?
Swear to God.
Oh my God.
We are just getting started. I'm just kidding. One of those is like Patreon. So let's say 8. Let's say 8. Mm-hmm. So when she said she was in Texas getting treatment for her blood disease for 2 months, she was actually in Florida, essentially becoming Teri. She lost 20 pounds, dyed her brown hair blonde. And when she returned to New Hampshire as Teri, she just acted a little different from Robbi. She drank more. She smoked a different brand of cigarettes, did just enough for people to be like, yeah, y'all are definitely twins, but there's differences.
Yeah.
Now, what led the FBI to Marie, who again was assuming the identity of Teri Martin? Well, Robbi's old co-workers were actually the ones who broke the case.
Wait, okay, but Robbi is her. Okay.
Yeah. Robbi is who she originally was when she was moved to New Hampshire with John.
Okay.
She got a job as a secretary.
Mm-hmm.
when her old she had to quit though to go get treatment, obviously.
Yeah.
When they heard about Robbi's passing, it was like the next day, Teri was there as the twin wanting to see where her poor dead sister used to work. She said she always talked about it here. I just want to see like what her life was like.
Oh.
And the coworkers were sus.
Yeah.
They're like, she looks different, but this seems like Robbi. And Robbi like jumped around to different jobs because generally people liked her. Her bosses always said she was a great secretary, but she would like tell these stories and treat her coworkers in a way that they were like, she butted heads a lot. And there were some parts of her past that she would hint at that just seemed like a lie. So they actually got together, the coworkers, and were like, it would be so on brand for Robbi to do this. Like, they're like, we just don't think she had, leading up to her death, a couple weeks before her death, they had never heard anything about Teri. And then all of a sudden it was Teri all the time. She was like building this character.
And again, why would you go to the workplace a day? She really likes to play with fire.
Yeah. Yes. She called, asked Teri, saying, bad news, Robbi's dead, and then showed up the next day and was like, let's show me around. Where'd she work? Where was her desk? Tell me everything. They're like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
So they were suspicious from the jump. They start digging into the obituary. Remember, Teri came up to New Hampshire, wrote the obituary with John, but she pretty much wrote it because she had to tell the background.
Yeah.
She said that Robbi died at the Medical Research Institute of Texas.
Oh, very verifiable.
That's not a real place, they learn.
What'd you say? Oh, okay.
That's a made-up place. That's obituary said that. And that's not real. It also mentioned a church that Robbi belonged to in Texas. Also not a real place.
Oh, my God.
The coworkers went as far as to getting the Texas coroner's records for the day Robbi supposedly died, November 10th, 1982. And nope, no Robbi. No one died.
Wow.
Someone had a friend who knew a friend who got the report. And they're like, no, we don't have record of that. So they took their findings to the police. Police interviewed all the coworkers and then did their own investigation into the statements from the obituary and agreed something was off. They took it to the New Hampshire State Police, who were very interested because at the time there were actually 2 female fugitives in New Hampshire, and one of them was named Teri Lynn Clifton. Oh. Teri spelled differently, but Teri.
Okay.
They're like, it could be her. I think she was one for bank robbery. I can't remember. So they think they're surveilling her.
Oh, shit.
When they see her leaving work that day on January 12th, 1983, they take her into custody. The men she was getting in the car with, only one came out, but there were 4 men in the car. They were FBI agents. When they got to the station, they sat her down and asked what her name was. She said, Audrey Marie Hilley, and I'm wanted in Alabama. And they're like,
she's fessed up right there.
What? Yeah. The jig was up.
Wait, those were the people she got in the car with when Sally was picking her up or whatever?
Yeah.
So how did they just like catcall her and she came over and they're like, you want to get him?
Well, the main guy got out and was like standing against his car, and she knew. She just knew.
Oh, really?
So she walked up to him and he said, we have reason to believe you're not who you say you are. So she said, please don't cuff me. Let me tell my friend I have a ride. And they said, fine. And he kind of walked with her because he was like, you're going to fucking jump in this car.
Yeah.
So she leaned down and said, I have a ride, thanks, and got in the car with him. But there were also 3 other men in the car, FBI agents.
Okay. Wow.
So she sat down and said, I'm Audrey Marie Hilley. I'm wanted in Alabama. And they were like, what? You're not Teri Lynn Clifton? She was like, nope.
Oh, my God.
So they called the FBI in Alabama, and the FBI said, yup. She's wanted. And originally she said, I'm wanted on bad checks, like writing bad checks. And they're like, I mean, yeah, she is, but that's the least of our problems.
Right.
She's wanted on murder and attempted murder of her family.
Yeah.
So after 3 years on the run, she was busted, and authorities brought her back to Alabama. The first thing she did, this is hilarious.
Oh, good.
The first thing she did.
So far, it's all been hilarious.
Oh, my God. The first thing she did was call her son Mike and ask, is Carol still a homosexual?
Shut up, bitch.
I'm not kidding.
You needn't worry about that.
Oh my God.
Are you outside of your mind? Are you joking?
Are you still a murderer? Like, well, don't worry about her sexuality.
Right.
Don't worry about that.
Least of your problems. And yes.
And yes.
Maybe.
Your little arsenic trick didn't,
Is that why she wanted? Well, that and the life insurance policy?
Yeah. it's up for debate.
Wow. I hope Carol's married to a woman today.
I hope she is, and I hope they have sex all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Mike's like, what? Who is this?
Yeah. What do you want?
Wow. God.
Wow.
And again, that's where I was going to tell you also about the FBI's biggest question of like, why would you were free? We were never going to catch you. Why did you pull Teri into this? You added layers of deception that were so unnecessary. We would have never found you. And again, she said, don't know.
And coworker, it's Taylor Parker all over. I'm like, you're just inviting more witnesses into your trial. What are you doing? You're
so bizarre.
That's okay.
Anyway,
involving so many unnecessary people,
right?
But again, she's the type of gal. She's the type of homophobe who really likes to play with fire, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
Her trial for Frank's murder and Carol's attempted murder started on Memorial Day, 1983. She was also originally charged with illegal flight to avoid prosecution, but by the time the trial comes around, that charge is gone. Like even the court documents don't talk about it, so I don't know what happened there, but that's probably the lesser of the three. So
sure. Statute of limitations or something.
I don't know. 3 years is not that long.
Yeah, I don't know. For what? What was the charge? Sorry.
Illegal flight to avoid prosecution, being a fugitive. I mean,
okay.
I don't think whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, definitely no statute for that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't, whatever.
So murder and attempted murder. Carol, who made a full recovery by this point, testified. Marie looked at her from across the courtroom and mouthed, "I love you."
Shut up. I would have mouthed,
fuck off. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I bet you do.
Mm-hmm.
John Homan was also there, sitting on the defense side. He stuck by her.
Stop.
She was all he had, and he said he was going to stick with her to the end. Him and his brother had a falling out by this point. Like, he was like, I love her.
You have like 5 other siblings, right? So
I know. Well, they're in Florida.
Okay.
But I'm like, you don't even know her at this point. But I feel bad for him. I really do.
I know. She had a tough, yeah.
She maintained her innocence and said that she was wanted for bad checks, but she never poisoned anyone. She didn't murder anyone. She didn't try to kill her daughter. And John believed her. He was just like, I know her. I'm sticking by her side.
Okay.
I do feel bad for him.
I do too. He had a rough go, but yeah, that's a heavy case of denial. It sounds like, she killed your fictitious wife.
It actually it makes a lot of people debate if he was aware. Like some people think he did meet her in Florida as Robbi, but then she came clean about who she was and he was in on it the whole time. Because they just thought it was so weird how quickly he was like, I'm going to stick by her. I'm like, there's no more level of betrayal than what she just did. But a lot of the agents who talked to him like that day when they broke the news were like, no, he did not know. He's just maybe turned a blind eye to some signs, but like, no. And I don't think he did. I don't know. I just feel bad for him.
Yeah.
After a 10-day trial, the jury deliberated for 3 hours and found Marie guilty. The judge said, have a nice life. Sentence, that is.
See ya.
She was sent to Tutwiler State Prison for Women in Wetumpka, Alabama.
Okay.
John moved to Anniston so he could visit her in prison. He's
he's in it.
Oh, he's all in. He goes every single Sunday. That's visiting hours.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. Fast forward 4 years. On February 26, 1987, a woman named Sue Kraft was driving up to her house in Blue Mountain, Alabama, when she saw someone on her neighbor's back porch breaking in.
Please tell me it's Marie.
She knew her neighbor wasn't home. So Sue and another neighbor called police, and as they're waiting, Sue gets a closer look, and it looks like the person isn't breaking in. They're in distress.
Oh, shit.
She walked over there to find a woman. She was muddy, soaking wet. It had been raining. She's missing a shoe. She's slumped over on the porch. Her hands were purple, and she's like grasping for the doorknob. Sue approached her and was like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, what are you doing? She said her name was Sellers, which is like, that's Rebecca's old middle name.
Mm-hmm.
She dropped it, her name was Sellers. Her car broke down. Sue asked how she got there, and she said she walked some and mostly crawled. Her speech was slurred. She was clearly freezing. Mind you, it's February. So she got a plastic sheet and wrapped it around her. Sue said it looked like she had been buried alive and dug her way out. Like her nails were all bent. It just looked awful. Her hair was matted. She was in really bad shape, and she looked terrifying. Like, she said she could barely look at her. She was
Where are
scary.
the police?
Cops get there. They get there.
Okay.
They get there, and the first thing they thought was she was drunk. But upon further examination, it seemed like she was going into a diabetic coma. So they called an ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
In the ambulance on the way to the hospital, she had a heart attack, but survives. And when they got to the hospital, they rushed her into ICU. She had intense hypothermia. Her body temperature dropped down to 81 degrees.
Oh, shit.
Which, like, they said by, I think, 98.4 or whatever, 6 is normal. By the time it's at like 95, 94, you're like very hard shivering. 90, you stop shivering.
Yeah.
That's when it's really going downhill. She was at 81.
Wow.
Nobody knew who this woman was until one of the seasoned officers walked in, took off her oxygen mask to get a good look at her face, and said, Marie. She opened her eyes, looked at him, then her eyes rolled back into her head, and she was pronounced dead at 5:06 p.m. She was 53 years old. She had escaped prison.
Holy shit.
Whoa. A week before this, she was granted a weekend pass out of prison. I guess she had been a good inmate because after a couple of years in the clink, she was reclassified as a minimum security prisoner, which came with day passes where she could leave for 8 hours and see John. After she did this several times with no incident, always came back to jail on time, they approved her for a weekend pass.
Oh my God.
So on February 19th, 1987, she and John got a hotel room near the prison and spent the weekend together. That Sunday before she went back to prison, she told John she wanted to visit her parents' graves by herself and she'd meet him for a late breakfast and he could take her back. When she never showed up to the restaurant, John went to the hotel room and found a note that said, John, I hope you'll be able to forgive me. I'm getting ready to leave. It'll be best for everybody. We'll be together again. Please give me 1 hour to get out of town and destroy this note. It also said that a friend named Walter was driving her to Atlanta Airport to catch a flight to Canada, and she would contact John soon, and John immediately called police. And
John,
yet again,
she fucked you twice.
Yep.
God, betrayed again.
Yep. John called police, and yet again, a massive manhunt ensued.
Oh my God.
Agents went to the airport, bus terminals, taxi companies, anywhere where transportation is had to see if they could apprehend her before she got on whatever flight to Canada. But she wasn't at any of them. John cooperated with the authorities, but they had nothing other than this note. Like, this bitch could be anywhere.
Yeah.
The hunt goes on for a week, and a week
Oh
later,
my God.
Sue Kraft found her unrecognizable on that neighbor's porch, not in Canada, in her hometown of Blue Mountain, Alabama, only a mile from her childhood home.
Yeah, so she didn't get far at all.
Sue had known Marie since they were teenagers. They went to high school together, and she did not recognize her.
Oh, wow.
That's how bad she was.
Oof. Not the prettiest girl anymore, huh?
I know. There was a lot of references to, like, how ironic. She was, like, so into her looks, so put together, concerned about how she presented herself, and she died, like, filthy, unrecognizable. It's crazy.
How long was she in prison at that point?
4 years.
John stuck by you. He moved to be near your prison. Oh my God. You screwed him yet again. My God.
Yep. The coroner determined that she had been in the woods for 24 to 36 hours before she was found. Temperatures were freezing, especially at night. There was a lot of wind. Like, there was no way. They think she must have been walking along this abandoned railroad track in
That was a
Anniston.
creepy ass sight.
I
man.
know. Bruises and scratches on her hands and knees proved that she was likely crawling a lot of the way. The effects of her body temperature dropping so dramatically she couldn't walk.
Oh.
The warden of the prison got reprimanded for approving Marie, whose entire life adult life was based on running from police for a week in furlough.
No, that is insane.
Soon after, the prison implemented much tighter rules for such approvals.
Sure. Like, fugitives don't get any.
If you are known to evade police for years at a time,
No.
you don't get any passes. Carol and Mike, the two kids, gave her a graveside funeral in Anniston. Mike, who's a reverend, presided over the service. John Homan was there.
my God.
And she was laid to rest in a grave the Hilley family had purchased decades before this, right next to Frank Hilley, her husband she murdered.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
No. Frank cannot rest in peace with this bitch next to him.
I know. Well, that's the story
Wow.
of Marie Hilley, the Black Widow of Anniston.
Where is John Homan?
I cannot.
That was
get,
80s.
no, he's. I'm certain he's passed away.
Yeah.
There are, and what's weird is, I mean, he's John Homan the third. Like it's like John Greenleaf Homan the third. I'm like, this will be easy. That's unique.
Yeah.
It's there's a few John Homans. There is a New Hampshire John Homan that's a pretty decorated veteran, but I don't think his birth year matched up. Like I was like, I don't know what this John Homan's birth year was, but this one seemed too young. I should have done more math. I couldn't find anything on it, but I feel bad for him. I really do.
Maybe he changed his name. Maybe he's like this. I mean, my God.
You know what I thought you would ask and you didn't? But maybe listeners are wondering, how did she get away with quote unquote dying as Robbi and coming back as Teri? Wasn't there a funeral? Wasn't there?
I was wondering that, and I was like, well, look at the obituary, newspapers, blah, blah, blah. But across the country in the, 70s? I don't know.
No, but even for John, like, okay, let's have a funeral.
Oh, right. That was his wife.
Right. No, Teri, in the letter that quote unquote Robbi wrote to John, she said that she always wanted to donate her body to science so they could find a cure for this disease. So Teri said that she donated it to that Texas Research Institute that didn't exist.
Well,
so
you can still have a memorial service without a body.
But and then that played into. I thought you would catch on if I told you that earlier. But that played into too. Like they didn't have a funeral for his mom. Like he was like, let's move on. We're not going to harp on it. So kind of, he may not have had one anyway. But I was like, that would surely get you figured out. But no, she was like, oh, I'm sorry, I donated. She wanted her body donated to science. So
no funeral, no remembrance.
We'll just talk about her and that's it.
Wow. That was a roller coaster.
I know.
Batshit. So I need a moment. Okay.
I know. Sit with it for a little bit.
Poor John Homan.
Poor Carol, poor Frank, poor Mike.
Absolutely.
There was some reference of her visiting Mike and he got really sick at one point. Nothing came from it. He assumes he's still around. He's doing well. He assumes, and Carol is too, but he assumes that she may have poisoned him. There were a lot of people who'd be like, wait, I visited the Hilley house and I was violently ill. Like neighbors said, like,
what would be the motive for that?
She's just crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's we've never gotten an answer. She maintained her innocence till she died. So we don't even have a real motive for any of it, except for Frank. She did get, because he was, had worked at the foundry job for, decades. She did get a pretty good payout from his life insurance. Carol, probably life insurance. She was probably mad that she's a lesbian. I don't know.
Oh my God.
We never got a straight answer. Carol would go visit her and ask her. And she was like, I didn't do it. I love you. I missed you the whole time I was gone, type thing. So
shut up.
That's where
I've got to figure out where John Homan is.
The book I sourced at the beginning was called Poison Blood, a true story of murder, passion, and an astonishing hoax by Philip Ginsberg.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't have said that at the beginning.
I mean, come on. Patrons. And this is a long list. It's only because I accidentally got high, but that's okay. Whatever works.
Look, we'll get high every episode if we can have 50 patrons.
Mercedes, Sasha, Kiona, Brooke, Stacy, Amanda, Kelly, Connie, Lauren, Paula, Tracy, Jude. There's like a bunch of O's.
Oh, okay. Hey, Jude.
But it's Jood. Miss Hodges, HB, Megan, Jennifer, Amy, Carrie, Bree, Heather, Tessa, Josie, Kathleen, Vanessa, Sadie, Kathy. This is a record. Mike, Ashley, Madison, Tammy, Laura, Gracie, Michaela, Avery, Cassandra, Josephine, Meredith, Molly, Ariel, Rachel, Lee, Barbara, and Lindsay. Oh, wait. Sorry. Keep going. Victoria, Justin, Emma, Dara, Maggie.
Yay!
Oh my God. And I think that's the first, the longest list we've read. B, the first time I've read it and felt confident in the names.
Oh, that's wonderful. Made it about you.
So thank y'all. Made it about me. Y'all, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is where it's at. That's where it's at. Okay, some custom shouts. The first one's from Peyton. I'd like to shout out my small art biz. I make art inspired by heavy topics that has an eerie vibe.
Ooh.
At babyteeth.art on Instagram. I think y'all know how to spell that, but I'll just go for it. BABYTEETH.ART on Instagram and TikTok. That's both. I'm just starting again after a bumpy art ride a few years ago, but I have so much more to come, and I'm excited for it all. Yay! That's exciting.
Peyton, is the baby teeth and it being a dark subject a reference to Gillian Flynn's book? That one, you know, baby teeth end up being, it's like about this dollhouse or something. And I don't know, I forget.
What is
It's
it?
been years and years and years since I've read it. But at the end, it's discovered that this dollhouse, the floor is made out of baby teeth.
Stop. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert to Sharp Objects.
Oh, yeah. I
You
remember.
know.
I didn't read it, but I do remember it.
Yeah. That was a great one.
Oh, I don't know if this was in the shout out in my list of shout outs, but okay, my next one's from Noel is probably what I said if it was in the list, but it might be Noel. I don't know. N-O-E-L, you get it. I want to give a shout out to you, Rebecca and Rachel. Thank you for giving me something to look forward to when life is really testing me. I love your banter and humor. I laugh and cry with you all, and it feels like we're all a family. We are.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's
Thank you.
We love being there with you when life is testing you.
Yeah.
Fuck it, man. Last one's from Angie. Shout out to my vintage shop, Goddess and Queen. Oh, okay.
Oh, hell
Unique pieces, top tier quality, and zero guilt because you're keeping fashion out of landfills. Word. Come find your next fave at goddessandqueen.shop. Treat yourself like the goddess or queen that you are. Good one. Okay,
nice.
So goddessandqueen.shop. I know you'll know how to spell, but I just feel the need to do it.
Feel free.
GODDESSANDQUEEN.SHOP.
So no difference in spelling. It's exactly what you thought.
It's exactly
how you spell those words.
How you would think it was spelled. Same with babyteeth.art. I just felt the need. It wasn't BABEE. It was just BABY. Just what you would suspect.
I bet it's a reference to Sharp Objects. Is it? I would just be interested. Thank y'all so much. This really means everything.
It really does. Thank y'all so much.
And now that I've quit, it literally means everything.
It's actually a game. It's a real game changer. You have no idea.
Thank y'all so much.
Rate, review, subscribe, do whatever.
Tell everyone.
Thank y'all. Love you. You are the best.
People are the worst. Bye.